Hey guys, Lou here with another podcast, and this one's going to be a little bit different than what we've done in the past, but I'm really excited because I got to interview the one, the only, Mark Grieco. Currently, right now, he's the client service director at THAT agency. He's had 25 years of experience in the ad industry. Worked at Ogilvy, Saatchi & Saatchi in New York, and then Modea right here in Blacksburg, Virginia. The brands he's worked on are numerous, from Kraft, Cheerios, Wheaties, Lucky Charms, Ford, AT&T, Seagram's, Yoplait, Nationwide, Hershey's. The guy's worked on so much. So he's here a couple weeks ago in Blacksburg, and I thought it would be really cool to kind of pick his brain a little bit and ask him a few questions over what he's done and what great experiences he has had in the past throughout the 25 years of being in this industry. So Jordan Jacobson and I got to talk with him for a bit. I hope you enjoy that podcast with Mark Grieco. And as always, this podcast was powered by Prism.
Different kinds of pressure, whether it's the audience,
Sure.
the people you're presenting to. So if you're presenting to someone you see on TV or someone who's like a world famous person, there's pressure in that. There's also pressure in how much money the agency spends. So we pitched Bacardi at Saatchi for 9 months. Wow. Started with 30 agencies, went down to 10, then it came down to 5. It was 9 months worth of work.
Will a pitch usually last that long?
It depends. Some of them do.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, dude, for some of these things, agencies spend, like, these are bigger agencies. You could be pitching something for 9 months to a year and probably spend $3 to $5 million on it. Because most of the people who are involved are highly paid people. Because they're the ones who have to think this through. Those are really disappointing. Like, when we came in 1A at Bacardi and we didn't win it, that sucked. I remember that ripping my heart out.
Mm-hmm.
But we did, it wasn't like we didn't make an effort. You know what I'm saying? I think if I believe this to be true. The mistakes that you regret, or maybe the actions you take that may bring you pause and shame, it's because you didn't do your best and you made a conscious decision not to. But it's like sports. Look, if you play as hard as you can and you're a good teammate, you're not going to win every time.
I mean, it's no secret this is a really tough industry to be in.
Yeah.
Is there ever that finite point where you can just say, this is what I was supposed to do?
Yeah.
Did you have that, or is it just over time?
No, there were points in my career where I didn't want to do the job anymore.
Really? Okay. What kept you going?
I was burnt out. Like, those points were those life points again, where I was just I was unhappy, I was bored with the job on some level. Like, give you an example. So General Mills, the reason why Saatchi & Saatchi had such a good relationship with General Mills is, like, for example, I ran Lucky Charms, Trix, Cocoa Puffs for 6 years. So I was the managing director on all those cereals. What they would do, our relationship with General Mills, and this is the coolest thing ever, was, okay, Saatchi, we trust you to be the brand stewards of our brand, to know the brand equities and how to take this established brand equity of 50, 60 years, but keep it fresh and relevant. They would change their brand manager out every year. So every year I got a new client. I mean, a junior level client. But so we stayed the same. The younger kids, the kids who just came out of Harvard and Yale and everywhere else, they would rotate. On one level, that was great because it demonstrated enormous trust that General Mills had with Saatchi & Saatchi. At a low point in my life, career-wise, personally, I was working on that. I was bored. I mean, I just didn't have any interest in going to work.
Was it the material that the brands were giving you?
It was kind of doing the same thing over and over.
Okay.
It's, what we always tried to do was work on General Mills 90% of the time and then go out and pitch new business. Like, I made the joke about going to Tahiti. That was the kind of fun stuff, but the day-to-day rigor of the job, probably with my own, emotional problems that I have, my ADD and whatever that thing is, working on the same thing over and over again. Yeah.
Really?
That was like a low point. I was like, but then what do you do? Say, well, I've got this really big job.
Yeah. At that point, is it like, do I need to get through this period, this rough spot in my life, and focus on the long term?
Yeah.
Is that it?
I guess. I mean, I probably should have been more thoughtful. Someone raised that question. It's a great question. It's really
Because I'm sure a lot of introspection comes with this job, you know?
Yeah. It's... Yeah, again, I feel so self-indulgent talking about this. It's like I'm in a therapy session, which is good.
Tell me, Mark, when you were 20...
Well, it's a really good thing to do. Yeah, man, you know what? It's the parabolas, right? The parabolas of life. And you know what? If you're an adrenaline junkie like I am, you always want the highs. I had a horrible time dealing with the lows. If you're a person who likes energy, likes the rush in New York City, likes all the fun, likes success, likes new, fresh, interesting, innovation, well, you're working on kids' cereals for 5 years. Not that much is going to change. There's a little bit here that, that's interesting, but kids fundamentally are the same. Do you know the history behind the animation and why Lucky Charms and Trix and Cocoa Puffs are the way they are?
I don't know. I figured kids just love, cartoons and animation.
The Trix Rabbit, the Sonny the Cuckoo Bird, and Lucky the Leprechaun are designed and are emotionally active to represent what the child is going through.
No kidding.
A 5-year-old, Trix, so the target for Trix is 5 to 7. What does a 5-year-old have no control of? They have no control over anything. 5-year-old cannot do anything for themselves, right? They get what their parents or their guardian gives them. You ever notice the Trix Rabbit never gets it?
Right.
He never gets the cereal.
They're just for kids. It's something they can control. Or have an idea that they can control.
The kids look at the rabbit, not the kids. So they identify with the rabbit being, I never get anything either.
Interesting.
Sonny the Cuckoo Bird is all frenetic and crazy because you're targeting 8 and 9-year-olds. What is an 8 and 9-year-old starting to do now? They have friends. They know they have conversations outside of their mom and dad or their brother and their sister. They're starting to feel things that they're not sure what they mean. I mean, sexuality starts to come about at that age. Like, you don't know what it means. When you're 8 years old, you don't know what those urges are, but you're starting to develop at the very, very beginning. So there's stuff going on in your life that, like, I don't feel the same today. That's why the Sonny the Cuckoo Bird is all crazy. Then you go to the 10 to 13-year-old target, which is Lucky. He's the leader. So now at 12, you're starting to identify with yourself. You're starting to become a person at 12. You're starting to be the person who can play sports or be in the band or has artistic interest, and you're starting to be able to express yourself. So by definition, that you're leading. That's why Lucky is the way he is. Yeah, General Mills, those folks are the greatest people ever. They're the nicest, kindest, smartest people you'll ever meet. It was an honor to work for them for as many years as I did.
Did you ever have any interest of making the switch to brand?
There's the biggest regret I ever had. Okay, hold on, yes.
That's why I brought her in. That's why I brought Jordan Jacobson in.
Because that's what I'm starting in. So it's...
Oh my God, okay, there's 2. All right.
Sweet.
Dude, honestly, I will sit here all day and just run my mouth, man. You're going to just...
There's an outlet right here.
You're gonna
plug in.
You
just drain pamphlet of power.
You me to do this, dude. You need someone who's less self-absorbed.
It is no worries.
I was offered to become a copywriter. So I was an account person. I started as an assistant accounting executive, went to accounting executive, but I always could write. I had pretty good creative instincts. There are a lot of account people who don't have good creative instincts. They're process people. Mm-hmm. In the little time you spent with me, you could probably tell I'm not a process person. I don't really like details. I like ideas.
Sure.
I like running my mouth. Rick Boyko from VCU Brand Center. Rick, he's the one who started the Brand Center at VCU.
Oh.
So he was the creative director at Ogilvy. He's like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you an account person? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, I want you to be a writer. I'm like, what? He's like, I want you to be a writer. I'm like, I don't know. So I actually did some work for him. He's like, it's pretty good. So he tried to get me to be a writer. I didn't do it. So I stayed as an account person. That's 1. 2, I got offered to be the worldwide marketing director on J&B Scotch. I actually took the job. True story. Took the job. Resign at Saatchi. Like, you're not going anywhere. So all of a sudden I get a phone call from, we just had to have this new chairman, this guy named Bill Muirhead. He was the number 2 person hired at Saatchi by Morris and Charles Saatchi years ago. So I get a call from his executive assistant. Mr. Muirhead would like to meet with you, Michael. Can you walk in, he goes, oh, right, you're Grieco, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, all right, listen, I don't know anything about you. Seen you around, kind of like you. Client just offered you a job. You're not taking it. I'm like, why? He's like, that means you're too good at your job. I'm like, listen, Mr. Muirhead, sir, thank you very much, but I took these, like, you're not leaving. I wasn't working on General Mills at the time. I was working on Goldschlager and all those.
Okay.
He's like, you're not leaving. We're going to put you on General Mills. I'm like, well, he's like, you're not leaving. How much money do you want? I'm like, it's not about the money. He's like, write something down on a piece of paper. So he goes, write something down, whatever it is, go see this guy, Mike Burns. Mike Burns ended up being my best friend. He was the chairman. He was the chairman of Saatchi, New York. This is the worldwide gym.
Okay.
So I ended up turning down the job. That was, but is it a mistake? I don't know.
There's so many like indescribable qualities that you can see when people get into the industry, and I'm sure that you've worked with. When people are coming out of college and everything,
Yep.
Can you just read when someone has it?
Yeah,
and they're ready. Okay,
it's a great.
Yeah, and what is it?
So if you come into my office for an interview, I don't care what you know. You don't know anything. I mean, I don't mean that dismissively. You don't know anything.
Right.
There's nothing you can tell me that I don't know. But what I want to know is, hey, do I want to spend time with this person? Are they going to work hard? Are they going to care?
Can they learn?
Are
What's their
they open
potential?
to learning? Right. It's almost, there are little things like, if you can get out of the office during an interview process, like you go have a drink with them. People who have engaged in some team orientation, whether you played sports, it doesn't matter if you were the worst athlete in the world, it doesn't matter if you were the water boy or held the clipboard. If you were involved in some team orientation at sports, that's always a great thing. I always look for people like that. Or if you were in a band, it's the same kind of thing. There's collaboration. Like, you know what you don't want? It's like the person who's the greatest juggler. Like, because that's the person who sat around and this is a horrible sweeping generalization. Okay, I don't mean this literally. I mean this more metaphorically. But it's like, hey, what are your skills? Well, I'm a juggler. I'm a great juggler and a great bowler. Well, what does that tell me? You spend a lot of time alone. Okay, that's not fair. Not everyone has a ton of friends, but collaboration. Mm-hmm. This is a collaborative business. You know what I'm saying?
Because it can't be done alone.
Can't be done alone.
Okay. This has been an amazing conversation. I could do this another hour or two and not break a sweat. But I think we got to wrap it up. Mark, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Lou, Jordan, this is great.
Thank you.
Yeah.